So what we're working on today, like I said, it's all about boosting those conversion rates. And you probably hear that term thrown around so much when you're watching Amazon videos and listening to people talk. And what it really means is when people are looking at your products, what rate are they actually clicking that add to cart that they're buying? Because that's what matters. You want people to purchase your products. You could have the whole world look at it, which is awesome, but if they're not clicking buy, then it's kind of not worth it. So what I'm really wanting to look at today is, how do you even check what your conversion rate is? Does anyone know what the conversion rate is or where to find it? Then what should we be moving it towards? How do we grow our business? So if we start with that, and feel free to drop it into the chat if you know what and you're happy to share. Maybe you've got an amazing conversion rate. It's definitely something to be proud of. A good conversion rate will depend on the product category. For example, if I was selling something that cost $1,000 a unit, maybe my conversion rate's going to be a lot lower than somebody who's selling something for $20. There's more of a barrier there. Maybe I'm dealing in a high-end luxury category. It's all going to affect it. So there is no fixed figure. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about conversion rates and your own product, because if you see these stats and you get a little bummed, maybe it's not the right fit for your particular product. Keep that in mind. I'm just going to make myself a little bit bigger because I am super small there. But something that I thought was really interesting was the conversion rates on Amazon hover between that 10 to 15% as a great conversion rate. So if you're in that benchmark, well done to you. If you're above that, amazing. Tell me your secrets. And if you're below that, that's what we're here for today. We're going to run through some things that can help. But the average e-com conversion rate is only 1 to 2%. And I'm guilty of this. I'll sit there at night, I'll add a few things to cart, but I don't actually buy. It takes a lot to convert e-commerce sellers sometimes. And I'm talking about those like Shopify models, whereas Amazon's much higher. And I think personally, a few things play into that. You've got the social proof. You've got that peace of mind, knowing that you're going to get the product when they say you're going to get the product. And you've got that amazing returns policy. So from a buyer's perspective, it's taking away some of those obstacles. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, to find your own conversion rate, it's a little bit of a process. It's not hard. Definitely no excuse not to check it. You don't need to be brand registered to access this report either. So today, I could think of 20, 30 different things that sellers could do to help boost their conversion rates, but I wanted to keep it really actionable. So I've boiled it down to, 4 or 5, just a handful of things that every seller can access. There's no barriers there. You don't need to be brand registered, that you can access and start looking at today. So to check that conversion rate, jump into your Seller Central account. If you're not selling at the moment, you're just researching, this is going to be a really good one to keep in the back of your mind, because you're going to want to check this when you do go live. And it's really going into your reports, business reports. There's one called Detail Page Sales by Traffic by Parent Item. That's a mouthful. I'm sure they could think of a better title for that, but that's what we're working with. And then you'll see 2 rows in there. One is for sessions, one is for total order items. Divide them by each other, you're going to get your conversion rate. And the reports in there are constantly changing and being updated. And it's really cool now. If you jump in, you may have noticed that you've got stats on your mobile shopping, which I'm going off on a tangent here, but I think it's really interesting. You can check what your sessions are for mobiles versus desktop, what you're converting at. I was really surprised. One of my products was really heavy on mobile search, which you might think, oh yeah, that's great. But I, knowing that information now, went back and optimized my listing specifically for mobile shoppers. So, the screen's a lot smaller if you're shopping on your mobile phone. So I've made sure that my images absolutely maximize the available space. They don't get the same order of details on the page, making sure that the bullets are really short and punchy, because big blocks of text on a mobile phone is just going to put people to sleep. So definitely jump in, have a look at that report, and maybe have a look at that mobile versus desktop as well, because like I said, it's a bit of a tangent, but it can help. So that's where you get your conversion rate. So if you doing that right now and you're working out that, you know, you're below that 10 to 15% window, you know, you could still have an amazing product, but it just shows that there's potentially a lot of room there to improve. And we're always improving. We're always trying to get better. So the very first thing that I would be looking at to boost your conversion rate, to make sure that you are converting those views into sales, is looking at your PPC campaigns, pay-per-click advertising. I can't stress this enough. PPC is not set and forget. As much as I want it to be, for anyone who's followed me for a while, I do not like PPC. I've really struggled with it. I have to force myself to kind of sit down and review this on the weekly. What I would be recommend doing, so Longly, if you can't see the mobile sales and desktop sales, you might have, just for context people, there's a question that's come through the chat, how to see the mobile sales versus desktop. You may have one of the columns hidden. So on the right-hand side, there should be a little box where you can click on and off different columns. And you've also got your different reports on the left-hand side. Click through a couple of those, check out the settings, and you'll start to see, I'm trying to remember the exact terminology that they use. It might not be mobile sales, being US and I'm Australian. They might call it something else. I'll have a look and email it to you if it is different. Awesome, you got it, great. So back to PPC. Every week, I'd highly recommend just checking in on your PPC campaigns. And what you're really looking for is those underperforming keywords. Which ones are just chewing through your budget and not performing? And then likewise, look at the ones that are performing well, put more money there. It's just common sense. Take the money away from the ones that aren't working, put it towards the ones that are. But the big thing that I often see, and this is huge when people launch, is that they'll launch and they'll run with broad and phrase match targeting. I could do a whole training topic just on this. So when you start advertising with Amazon, they love it. You're spending money with them. They will say to you, what keywords do you want to target? And you'll give them your keyword list. And then they will say, do you want this as an exact match, a broad match, or a phrase match? And the difference is, if you go broad or phrase, the keyword can be in the search term somewhere, but maybe in a different order or with different keywords added on to the beginning or the end. And that can completely change the context of what someone's searching for. And I'll show you an example in a minute. But if your PPC campaign is chewing up your budget, it's not delivering, definitely scale it back to an exact match targeting process. And also remove automated campaigns. Automated campaigns are where you say to Amazon, hey, you take the reins. You decide who sees my ad. Don't do that if you're just launching, because Amazon doesn't really know what your product is yet. They haven't worked out how to place you in the algorithm. It's going to chew through a ton of cash. It's not going to hit the right buyers. And how this ties in with conversions is that you're showing your product to all of these people. Amazon notices that, but then you're not converting on it. So it hurts your conversion rate. And the goal, my head's covering it a little bit, is 30% ACOS. Again, really depends on your product. So, that's not a golden rule. You need to be flexible in terms of how it applies to what selling category you're in. Michael's just asked, what is the best way to find the dollar price per keyword? When you go to set up that campaign, Amazon will guide you. They will say, hey, we recommend it to be set between this figure and this figure. And that will change constantly depending on what the market's doing. So I know Mother's Day is coming up soon. If I was to start targeting keywords like Mother's Day gift or gifts for mum, that dollar price would be really high right now. Whereas if I checked in from a month from now, that would be low. So it does fluctuate. And that's why checking in weekly is going to really help. If you're wanting a general guide about what keywords to target before you get to that stage, jump into Keywords on Fire in ZonGuru, because that's going to give you a guide that you can work off. Because some keywords I've seen as high as $8, which is insane. Someone clicks on your ad, you instantly pay that $8 whether they buy it or not. So Michael's just asked, when you're in the product, so perfect. If you're in the product research phase, you're going to get that from Keywords on Fire. That's going to be your go-to. And it also helps you work out who you're targeting with your product. Is there great keywords there that you can hone in on that, maybe are being forgotten about a bit by your competitors? And I'll get to that in a second. You're on it, Michael. You jumped to one of my next slides. So I definitely will cover that in more detail. But yeah, Keywords on Fire, if you're in research phase, is a great place to go to check on that. And I just want to show you what I mean by broad and exact match versus, I did a search on Amazon for the phrase nappy caddy. And for the Aussies and Kiwis in the room, it's basically a little basket where you store nappies and nappy wipes and things for babies. It's quite a popular category in the US, and some of these products are advertising for that particular keyword. So nappy caddy is quite specific. Someone putting that in knows what they're looking for. Yet these sellers are offering up their products. So we've got a set of 3 storage baskets, a laundry basket, and a baby stroller organizer. They're not nappy caddies, yet they're sponsored ads. They're bidding on that particular keyword. To me, that's a waste. So I wouldn't be doing that. I mean, they're kind of related, some of them. I get the baby stroller organizer, but someone who specifically jumped on Amazon looking for a nappy caddy, they're very, very unlikely to click on any of these ads. And if they do, it's more just to have a little look around. That's not where their intention is to buy. Waste of money. Greta's just asked, thanks. Oh, thank you. So did you say just do exact match keywords or broad as well? So if you're just launching, you're just starting out, highly recommend exact match keywords only. If you've been selling for a little while, you can definitely expand that to broad and phrase, because the algorithm understands what your product is, understands better who your audience is, and you've got more of a handle on what keywords are working for you and which ones aren't. You will get conflicting advice about anything to do with PPC. Everyone's got their own strategies. That's what I personally do. It's worked for me. That's why I'm sharing it. It's just, to me, common sense. If you're launching a brand new product, Amazon doesn't know what it is. Stick with exact match. You can get laser focused about who you're targeting, what keywords you're targeting, and you're not going to blow the budget, which is a big thing when you've just invested this huge amount of capital into your product. You've got all the images, you're doing everything right. You don't want to be paying, wasting money, just like these guys here are. Another one, this one blew me away. I was searching for insulated tumbler. So I definitely, if I was putting that in, wouldn't be in the market for mechanic gifts or an engine oil filter. And no word of a lie, these 2 listings showed up when I searched for insulated tumbler. So another example of people who have just agreed to let kind of Amazon take the reins with their broad and exact match, and probably wondering why their PPC spend is through the roof and they're not getting any conversions. Yeah, Greta, you're not alone. Greta's just said she's wasted so much with PPC. I would wind it all back. Go to manual campaigns with exact match only. Focus on maybe 10, 15 keywords at a time. Each week, check in to see what works, what's not. If it's not working, dial back the spend. If it is working, dial up the spend. If I could condense it down into that, 30-second soundbite, that's what I would suggest. And once that starts working, once you start getting those conversions, you can expand it out to other types of campaigns. 100%, and we've all been there. 100% all been there. I remember when I first launched, I set up an automatic broad phrase, everything. And then I was wondering why my ACOS was through the roof. Amazon loved it. They were making a ton of money off my advertising. Conversion rates impacted. And of course, the aim of the game is increasing that conversion rate so you organically show. So, you get in front of more buyers, you make more sales. So yeah, this is an example of what not to do with your PPC targeting. The second thing is your hero shot. Really obvious. You have 2 or 3 seconds to steal a click. We're basically, we're overstimulated. The traffic's mechanic. It is too. I didn't even realize. Thank you, Michael. Yeah. Well, maybe that's a really, great point, Michael. Actually, that's a good example of a hero shot. I was looking for an insulated tumbler And they've done such a good job of making that look like a tool set. I can't even see that it's a tumbler anymore. To me, I'd put a straw out the top, show that it's an actual tumbler as well, because it's missing the mark in terms of what people think it actually is. And that I can see they've got no reviews. I don't know what their sales like. Maybe they are a fresh launch, but that is a really good example of the hero shot not working for me as a buyer. Might work. I mean, obviously, Michael, you're way more perceptive than I am because I didn't even catch that. But with that hero shot, it's like, how do you stand out from the pack? And if you've just looked at that report and realized that you've got a really high mobile view audience, it's even more precious because it's a smaller screen. It's a much quicker time period. People are very quick to scroll on. And if you're not sure, split test your hero shot. Now, the hero shot can be split tested a couple of different ways. So if you are brand registered, you can do an A/B split test inside of Seller Central. They'll actually run the experiment for you. You give them 2 hero shots and you'll see a report saying which one is driving more clicks and sales, which one's got the better conversion rate. If you don't have brand registry, there are programs and platforms that will do this for you. Check out PickFu. It's actually really cheap. I was hearing about this for years and thought, oh no, that's for, I need a really big budget to start running my own testing and audience-driven, testing things. It's not. You can get something, I think, for 60 or 70 US. And it always surprises me because what I think people are likely to click on is never the one that is most popular. We all have our filters in terms of what we think is best, but the customer avatar knows better than anybody. Test it out. You'll be really surprised. I did this amazing hero shot, thought I had it nailed, put it up, crickets, did a split test, one that I had given no airtime whatsoever, just killed it, switched it over, and it's the best thing I did. And think about that mobile. And I just saw a comment, Mike, we could only tell from the description. So yeah, with that hero shot, you've got that couple of seconds to convey so much about your product. Make sure it's clear. Terms of service as well also needs to have a white background. I can see a lot of people break that. The bots will pick it up eventually and you'll have your listing suppressed, at worst suspended. So you can get a little bit tricky in terms of having little cutouts and things here and there, but make sure you always stick to terms of service where you can. Just been asked, where is A/B testing available in Amazon AU? Oh, I haven't used it in AU yet. I've only ever used it in the US. In the US, it's under the brand title. If we've got time in Q&A, I'll quickly jump into my Australian account and see if I can find that. Don't let me forget that. So, example of bad hero shots. I put this slide deck, don't judge me, together yesterday. I do a lot of planning, but I actually found these images yesterday. This little Santa guy, he's 4 or 5 months late. They haven't taken him off. When I see this as their hero shot with a little Santa in there, it just doesn't fit right. Take it out. I mean, that's a great thing to put in at Christmas. Don't have it on there April, May. Doesn't make sense. And then the other ones, and I don't know if you can see this at the top. Hopefully it's big enough. I looked for shoe storage box. There's certainly shoe storage boxes. So bland. This one here just looks like a stack of black boxes. I can't even kind of tell how they open or what's going on. At least this one here, I can see some air vents. But not great. It's not telling me too much about the product, really. I'm going to have to click in, but if I'm looking at 50-something results on the page, they're not going to be the one that gets my click. So although they're getting in front of me, they're not going to steal the conversion. Whereas great hero shots, this is exact same niche. They've put shoes in the box. So instead of it being a stack of black boxes that I can't actually see, now I can see, it fits this size shoe. They've got high tops in there and they're really playing to the avatar that would like this product. Someone who collects, sneakers, really into their shoes. This one here I like because it's got movement in it. They're showing that the box can be lifted off very easily, and they've got movement in how you open it. It's open straight down. So this one's telling me quite a lot just from one image. I really like that. Again, this one here, they've put weights on it to show my mind goes, oh, these ones are super strong. These aren't going to break. Whereas flick back to these ones, I don't know a lot. I don't know how they come apart, how these ones open. Are there like air vents on this one? This one's just, I have no idea what these guys are doing. They still think it's Christmas. So really think about your hero shot and what extra information you can convey. So the weights are the perfect example of, the hero shot should be on a plain white image, a plain white background. But they've just added this little cutout in, still within terms of service. Yeah, Lois, it's a grey area. They won't be picked up on it because they're showing, what, I don't know the exact terminology they use, but it's basically showing the product, how it's used, what it's used for. There'd be no expectation that if I ordered this set here, that I would receive 5-6 pairs of sneakers and a weight set. I'm not misleading anybody. And when I scroll through to the listing, on the extra images they've got and in the bullets and the title, it would very clearly tell me that it's the 6 storage boxes that I'm getting. I'm not getting, a set of sneakers and some weights. But you'll notice people, and it is a great area about how far you take the props, I guess, but making sure, above all else, you're communicating with that customer avatar, that you're telling them more about the product, because especially on a phone, this one is going to stand out head and shoulders above the rest. So their conversion rate is naturally going to be higher. They're going to get people clicking through. So we touched on this before about keywords. We really want to make the algorithm our best friend. We want the algorithm to understand what we're actually trying to sell, who we're trying to get in front of. And to do that, when you first launch, if your niche is super competitive, and if you're launching in the US, that's pretty much across the board a given, I'd recommend focusing on long tail keywords. And you've probably heard that term thrown around a lot as well. And again, that could be a whole training on its own. So the idea with keywords is, what are people putting in to search for your products? And this one is a great example. Shoe storage box is what I put in. Someone else might write in sneaker storage containers. Someone again might write stackable boxes for shoes. The point I'm trying to make is there are 100 different ways to find the same product. So finding those keywords which are long tail, so they're less popular. The competition is forgetting about them to a certain extent. And you'll usually find that they're keywords that have a lower search volume. So people will they'll jump into their Keywords on Fire tool, which is brilliant. It's going to find all those keywords for you. And then they'll say, show me the top ones. Show me the ones that are driving 50,000 searches a month. I want to see the ones that are delivering the big bucks, and they go after those. Unless you've got a huge budget, that's not going to work, because the people you're going up against have been doing it for a long time. They have a ton of reviews. They know exactly what they're doing, and it's going to be hard to cut through. Instead, I recommend going into Keywords on Fire and filtering so that you see those keywords that have lower search volume but still solid. So for the US, maybe search volume between like 1 and 5,000, for example. They're unique monthly searches. And if you combine 10 of those keywords together, you've suddenly got a search volume of 50,000, which is incredible, but it's less competitive. You're not competing with those big players, those big brands as well. Usually stay away from those longer tail keywords. And the benefit as well of using longer tail keywords is that the buyer has a higher intent to purchase. So longer tail keywords are usually longer as well. So maybe if I flick back to here, they've said stackable sneaker box black or something like that. Very specific. They know exactly what they're looking for. If that is your product, target that long tail keyword. You're going to be highly relevant. It's not going to be competitive, and you'll probably get the click and the sale. So keep that in mind, and you've got keywords on fire there to do the heavy lifting for you. And I can show you that if anyone needs to. You've got the filters where you can say, I only want to see search volume between this and this. I only want to see keywords that you've got all the power in your hands. But above all, make sure that when you've got those keywords, you write it for a human. I get really off-put when I buy a lot on Amazon. I'm looking through listings and it feels like a computer's written it, or somebody who doesn't understand me as a buyer. So how would your ideal customer speak? What language would they use? Where are they hanging out? Tap into that. And I've got some examples here. This is the title these guys have chosen to go with. You know, you can have a lot of characters in your title. They've got their brand name, they've got the size, and they've got stainless steel tumbler. I can see, I think that there's a lid on that. That's not mentioned. You know, what's a stainless steel tumbler do? Is it insulated? Does it have a handle? There's nothing there that really helps. And the title's the first thing with the hero shot that you actually see. They are not making good use of their keywords there. They're leaving so much left over. I am really interested. Like, I'd love to sit down with the person that created that and just say, well, why did you decide to leave so many off? You don't want to keyword stuff your title, but it's really valuable real estate that you can use to put some of those keywords in there. Explain your product and get people looking. Because say somebody wanted one with a leak-proof lid. It's a travel tumbler by the looks of it. I don't even know if you can travel with this one. If I'm looking at side-by-side products that look exactly like this, but the other title says, you know, stainless steel tumbler, leak-proof with travel lid, I'm clicking on that one. It's also going to help that algorithm, because the algorithm can see you've used the keyword and that it's relevant to your product. So make sure you keep that in mind with your titles especially. So Aileen's just asked, what is a good volume in Australia? Because it's totally different from the US. It 100% is, yeah, spot on, so different. So US, they're native to Amazon. They have been shopping on there for years. That's the first place they go, usually when they're trying to find something to buy. Australia, we're an emerging marketplace. We're still adopting that platform and we are growing tremendously, but we also don't have the population size. So you're not comparing apples with apples. In Australia, anything over an 800 monthly search volume, I personally consider as solid. And that's just for one keyword. You could find that if you were selling a product like this, the stainless steel tumbler, in Australia, I don't usually hear the word tumbler being used. It could be, you know, travel mug. It could be keep cup, anything like that. When you combine those together, you're going to get a pretty healthy search volume. And you might go 800, it's not worth my time. But the competition is also so minimal. You might be competing against 3 or 4 other sellers. Whereas in the US, it could easily be 300 other sellers. So do you want to be the big fish in the little pond, or the little fish in the big pond? If I said that the right way. So huge potential in Australia. I sell in Australia. I love it. Yeah, but you've hit the nail on the head there. They are different. You're not comparing apples with apples. Another example of bad keyword use, we just looked at the title. This is the bullets in this one. So I feel like it has just been thrown up. There is spelling mistakes. There are typos. It's not really giving me much about it, and they're not using the character count. You know, it's not where, and this again is a baby carrier. I don't know if you can see that because the profit calculator widget is showing up. You know, if I'm a new mum and I'm looking for something to put my baby in, first thing I want you to say is that this is safe, that this is going to comfort my baby, that it's not going to hurt my back, that it's ergonomic, that, you know, it's washable. I mean, they've written wipe space able. Like, it's not a great, like, it's not selling it to me at all. Perfect fit for mom or dad. Well, tell me, how is it a perfect fit? Are the straps adjustable? You know, is it just the straps here, or can I adjust it at the top? Like, tell me more. This is their chance to convert me from someone who's just looking at the listing to a purchaser, a buyer, convert me into a buyer. They're not doing a great job with that. And it's not just about the use of keywords. Like I said, they haven't crafted the language to the avatar. It just, to me, looks like it's been whipped up there. Outside pocket for quick, comma, small storage. It's like, show that in use. Tell me more what it could be. I could go on about that all day. So I'll just leave that one there. The fourth thing is your reviews. Amazon is a social platform. It's like anything. If a friend tells you they have tried the most amazing coffee at a new coffee shop, you go down and you check that out too. Same with Amazon. So that social proof is really important. If you've got more reviews on your listing, you're more likely to be seen. It does make a big impact. You'll notice when you get those 5-star reviews come through, the algorithm also boosts you up in the rankings a little bit. Likewise, if you get a negative rating, they'll probably bump you back. And it is a numbers game. So I heard a stat, 1 to 2% of buyers are likely to leave you a review if they're not prompted. So for every 100 units you move, you may get 1 to 2 reviews. When you think about that, it's a really uphill slog, but it makes sense. So if there's no prompt, buyers have to log into their Amazon buyer account. They have to look through their past orders. They have to find your particular product, and they have to click on the button to leave a review. Usually they're not going to do that unless they've got something really, really negative or really, really positive. So most of the time you're missing out. So you want to use the automation tools to your advantage, and there are 2 that you can take a look at. One's Review Automator. This one is just set and forget. You switch it on. These are both within ZonGuru. And what it's going to do is send, in line with Amazon's terms of service, it actually leverages their email template to say, hey, if you'd like her to leave a review, click here. And it's a one-click thing. They can do it on their phone. It removes all the obstacles to leave a review. And it's so clever, it actually skips any refunded or pending orders, which I think is a nice touch because you don't want to be asking anyone for a review that has returned your product. The second tool is Email Automator, and you can use this one to ask for reviews. Don't recommend it because Amazon is so picky about the tone and language you can use. And so many people fall foul of that. What I would recommend using Email Automator for is adding some sort of post-purchase value. And I don't care what your product is, you can think of something. It can be installation guides, warranties, how-tos. If you're selling something in the home space, decoration ideas, recipes. If it's a pet, how to train your pet, whatever it might be, just a quick little PDF that they can look at. It doesn't necessarily have to be all about your product either, just something about the niche that they can go, hey, this brand really understands me. This is helpful. I'm going to use this. And I'll show you one that it's just a template one that I did. This is I'm going to jump into our ZonGuru file. So in our demo file in ZonGuru, we sell yoga mats. And I did this template in Email Automator. Let me just load that up. Where is it? Yoga mat. So after post-purchase, they get this email saying 50 easy yoga poses for beginners. And if I just have a look at it, I'm not asking for anything from them. I'm basically just saying, thank you. Yoga is a great way to stay healthy and fit. Here is a PDF that you might find helpful. And if I open it up, it's basically 15 yoga poses. It's got the yoga mat featured on there, so it's going a bit slow. 3 pages, nothing crazy. You could easily do this in Canva, and it just really makes a difference to your product. Again, you're not asking for anything. That's going to come out of using Review Automator. And then those are the 4 points. If I have just torn through that, but I can see it's nearly 40 minutes. I've got roughly 20 minutes to answer any questions or run through anything more in more detail. I've loved all the questions that are coming through as well. So it doesn't need to be about what I've spoken about today, but if you do have any, now's the time to ask them. And like I said, the purpose of today was to give things that you can put into play right now, whether you're brand registered, if you're selling, doesn't matter. But there are so many more things you can do to bump that conversion rate up. I'd be keeping, a close eye, whether you check in on your conversion rate once a week or once a month, and just slowly dialing in. Every little improvement is going to help in the long term. A/B testing in Australia. Let me see if I can quickly open that up. So I have, and I know a lot of other sellers in my mastermind groups and things like that use the PDFs, and no one has had an issue with that. It's not to say that they never will, but right now it's definitely not something that is on their radar at all. And as we speak, I'm logging into my seller account in Australia, and I'll see if we can do that split testing. To do split testing, you do need to be brand registered. Review Automator, no, you don't need to be brand registered to use Review Automator. Anyone who is selling can use it. And like I said, once you flick it on, it's on for good until you decide to turn it off. So I am, let's go to my Australian account. Likes to log me into US. Bear with me. So brand registered does come with a lot of benefits, and if you are selling, it is something I would recommend checking out. It only costs you what it costs to get the trademark. So there really isn't any excuse, and it will help you. I was speaking to someone yesterday who had their listing hijacked. When things like that happen, it's no, it doesn't look like you can do it in Australia. That's really interesting. Yeah, not possible for Australia as far as I can see at the moment. So what I'd recommend doing there, because a lot of the pick food type agencies are US based as well, and if your product is specifically for an Australian customer avatar, is run the experiment yourself. Put up one hero shot for 30 days, take it down, put up the second version of the hero shot for the next 30 days, and then just see which one delivers the goods. You can do that for free. Always be testing, always be testing. So that would be my recommendation for Australia. So Review Automated pricing. So Michael, if you're on a seller plan, it's already included. And our seller plans start at $49 per month. They do scale up with the number of SKUs you've got. If you're only interested in Review Automator, you can buy that as a standalone plan. I don't recommend it because all the other seller tools, it's that piece of the puzzle. When you combine them together, that's when you get maximum benefit. But go to the ZonGuru pricing page and you'll be able to see what's included, and even start a free 7-day trial if you're not a user already. And that way you can put it in action, get it to work for the 7 days, and experience it for yourself. Ian's just asked, do you get the trademark on your seller name or product brand trademark? So I get it on my product brand. So I'll be selling a brand. What's an example? So that Igloo coffee mug thing. So Igloo is the trademark. So that's the product brand. And then you can have multiple products with that Igloo brand name on it. My seller name, that's my my business name. That it's all going to be different. Like you can have a company or an LLC or all sorts of stuff. That's not public facing. You want the trademark to be on what's public facing. Hopefully I've explained that. Okay. So is there a masterclass option for ZonGuru subscribers? It is it's on the pipeline. I think it's quite a while away. But what we have in the meantime is we do offer one-on-one consulting to anybody who would like it. Let me stop sharing my screen so I can get some links. It's one-on-one. They're half-an-hour calls. They are paid calls, but the value that you'll get out of that is second to none. So I'll find the link and I'll drop that in there just in case anyone wants them. There's no contract or commitment as well. I know a lot of advisors and things like that will make you buy pack of calls. This is ad hoc. Use it when you need it. When you don't, you don't. And I'm part of that group as well. I host some of those one-on-one calls, and we've also got Kimberly Locke and we've got Veronica. So you may have seen them on a past training here too. We're we love doing these calls because, you know, it's where you get really tangible, nitty gritty. And okay, I've got my links. Let me drop that in. But even if, you know, the chat, I can see everybody's engaged, asking amazing questions. Get into the Facebook group, Amazon Seller Insights, if you're not in there already, and just, you know, really get engaged in the community, because that's how you find out the best tips. Amazon's constantly changing things that will help keep your finger on the pulse, having that touch point with people and creating that community around you, because it can be really isolating. I know when I first started, you know, friends, family, they didn't understand what I was actually trying to build and achieve. They still don't. But I've got my Amazon friends now, and we can just talk through any issues. You know, have you experienced this before? What would you do with this? And it makes the world of difference. So, yeah, let me find the Facebook link as well. It's called Amazon Seller Insight. Amazon Seller Network. Facebook. And, you know, you'll see people popping in, asking questions. It's awesome. You know, hopefully got the right link there. Let me know. But it's, you know, creating that community. So, and I also encourage people to check back in here every week. There's a different topic. We have outside guest speakers in each fortnight, and we also have 100% Q&A sessions running as well. So next week is a Q&A. Usually the format of that is we'll explain any updates in the marketplace, any updates to the tools, and then it's just a great way to chat about what's going on in people's businesses, challenges. We share a lot from our own lives as well. Most of the ZonGuru team are sellers, so we're in the trenches with you. And it's just a great touch point. If there's, it doesn't look like there's any other, yeah, great. We've got heaps of questions coming through. So Aileen has just asked why the profit calculator is sometimes negative. So the profit calculator, and that you may have seen the widget on some of the products we were looking at. Let me see if I can bring one up. Let me share my screen. I was looking at this product before. It's a bento box, and I just thought, what a great use of color, like filling it, this, you know, for a hero shot, you know, it draws your eye in. It looks amazing, rather than leaving it empty. But anyway, I digress. This link here is the profit calculator, and it will pre-fill with some averages. They're not actuals, they're averages, but if you click into it, that's where you can get really specific and update it to suit exactly what you're after. So it will pull through the dimensions and weight, the price, target quantity. Like I said, they're estimates, they're averages. Maybe if you are thinking of launching this product, you wouldn't launch with 1,500. Maybe it's your first launch, you're going to start with 500. And maybe you've found a manufacturer that can make it for much cheaper. And you'll see as I update these, the per profit per unit, profit margin, and return on investment update in real time. So if you see any negative, it just means the assumptions that we've used, so what we believe the rough manufacturing costs, shipping costs, and duties, things like that, they may not be what they're actually using, but you've got the ability to jump in and update that to match whatever you see fit. I'm glad you like it. Someone's just said it's the profit calculator is the best tool. It's awesome. What I've actually been doing, I shouldn't have shut it down. You can export it to CSV. So if you're product researching and you've got a few products on the back burner, you can export it to CSV and kind of see the results side by side to see which one's going to deliver the goods. So Michael's just said, in one of your trainings a while ago, you mentioned adding a video to your listing without brand registry. I tried but could not find it. Could it be in the USA? And I have a feeling it is USA. I've still got Australia open. That's going to be hard for me to check because I've got brand registry in Australia as well. So if I'm seeing it, it may just be because I'm brand registered. Let me look into that one for you, Michael. Let me take that one down and I'll see what I can find. But what is quite common is that USA gets all the cool tools first, all the amazing features, and then they slowly roll it out around the world. So it will be coming. It's just a matter of timing. if it's not there already. But I have a friend that sells in Australia who's not brand registered, so I shall check with them. How can I add a video to my listings while I'm waiting? Yeah, so same sort of question. Greta, if it's in the USA, it's pretty straightforward. If it's in Australia, I'm going to check, and I'll make sure I let you know as well if that is available just yet. But video is an incredible way to really get people's attention. So inventory, upload and manage videos for you. Yeah. I have a feeling you're right for Australia. In the US, you can put different videos on your listing page, even if you're not brand registered. Yeah. Oh, great. Well, you've answered it. That beautiful. See, this is the power of coming to these sessions. I've just had my question answered. So in Australia at the moment, you do have to be brand registered to upload those videos. But again, brand registry in Australia is so simple. It's a couple of $100. You can do it yourself. You definitely don't need a lawyer. Go to IP Australia, follow the prompts, and yeah, it's as simple as that. You will need to wait a couple of weeks to get or a month or so to get it into that pending status. Amazon will accept it once it's submitted in review, and you'll be able to access all those features. So definitely something worth checking out. All right, well, if there's no other questions coming through, let me turn off my screen share. I might close it down for today. Sorry, I've just had one last question come through. Can I use brand registered in Australia and apply same trademark in the US? Yes, definitely can. So it's a bit confusing. Trademarks and brand registry are two distinct separate things. Trademark is going to protect your brand in the country you register in from other people using that trademark. It will also get you into the brand registry program. So if you get a trademark in Australia, you can actually use that trademark to register for brand registry in the US, even though the trademark isn't from the US. But if someone breaches your trademark in the US, you don't have any rights. It's simply a back entry into the brand registry program. So what I have done in the past is I've used my Australian trademark to launch in the US. Meanwhile, I've got my US trademark underway, and then I eventually have full coverage there. It's hard to say. It depends. So the average cost for brand registry in the US depends on your products, depends on how many categories you want to be covered for. So say that bento box example, they want to be covered for, lunchbox, travel kit. I'm just trying to think of, it's all by categories. I'd probably budget for 1,000 US would give a really comprehensive one. Trademark Angel is who I use. They're a little bit cheaper than that, and they have different tiers. Yeah, so I have, I use their basic package because I'm quite comfortable and confident in what I'm doing. But yeah, you can scale up. I think their full package is closer to 2,000, then it's like 1,000, and then there's one slightly under that. But tell them ZonGuru sent you. I think they give you a 10% off. It's Trademark Angel. And I've used them 3 or 4 times now, and they've been amazing. Thank you for sharing your quote, Greta. That's kind of where it sits. Like I said, it really depends on how many categories you want to be covering by. I personally get a bit nervous hiring someone from Fiverr for a trademark because you don't want to get it wrong. It's a legal, especially if this is for the States, it's a legal process. There's so many different, like you can register for a word mark or an image mark. If you get the categories wrong, if you don't have the right contact points on there, it's tricky. So I would prefer to go to somebody who specializes in that rather than somebody on Fiverr who could, just be moonlighting as a trademark expert. Jen's just asked how to get the profit calculator. If you've got the Chrome extension, it's already installed. You'll notice the little blue widget there. If you can't see the profit calculator on there, just log out of the extension and log back in and you'll have it. Otherwise, just email support@zonguru.com and they'll get right on it because it should already be on your screen. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. No other questions. I know there's a little bit of a delay here, so if I do cut anyone off, I'm really sorry. But yeah, I might wrap it up here. Oh, contact for Trademark Angel. Yeah, I can definitely do that. So Trademark Angel, like I said, mention you came from ZonGuru, and I'm sure that they will, it's either 10% or 15% that they will take that off. I'm just checking their pricing too, because it's been about 6 months since I last started a trademark with them. I'm very excited because that brand should be launching in the next week or so. Yeah, so here we go. There's 3 different pricing packages. The sales through one, which is the one I usually use, $415 US. All in is where you get a little bit more hand holding, is for $745 US. And then the bells and whistles is just under $1,100. There are a couple of $100 that you pay in like registration fees. But it's, yeah, definitely, the website's not, it doesn't look amazing, but the service and they know what they're doing is amazing. Yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. Okay, everyone. Well, that's me signing off for the week. I hope to see you again soon. Thank you, everyone. It's been awesome.